If you're an adventure or dual sport guy and the summers are getting so hot that you almost don't even want to wear a jacket, and you're probably already looking at some mesh jackets, let's talk about the Klim Baja S4. Starting off, there are other jackets that are AA rated. The Induction and the Induction Pro are both rated for street. Those are very durable jackets. They're designed to hold up for a street slide. They have level 1 armor in the Induction, level 2 in the Induction Pro. So what makes this one different? Why does this one cost a little bit more, even though it's still a mesh jacket kind of in that same realm? Well, this has to hold up to all the same things that the Induction does. Street use, which includes wind, sweat, UV rays, all sorts of dust and dirt, multiple washes when this thing gets dirty. It has to hold up to all that. But this jacket in particular is a little bit more off-road oriented, so it also has to hold up to a lot of slow speed tumbles off-road. It needs to hold up to brush in the woods like thorns and stuff hitting it. So this jacket is going to be more overbuilt than those. That's going to be your main upgrade with the Baja S4. This one has Schoeller Dynatec mesh, which is more durable than your standard mesh that you're going to see in the Induction. And it's also going to have SuperFabric panels on the shoulders and the elbows. This is basically a ceramic beaded fabric, so it's very tough. You'll also see this on the high-end Klim Badlands. They put it on the elbows and shoulders as well. And then what I really like about this that the previous generation didn't have, so a couple years ago, this didn't have these stretch zones, but when they redid this line, I think last year in 2025, they added material from the Marrakesh jacket. So now this jacket that used to be structured and kind of rigid moves a lot with you. It stretches, you can move around really easily. It doesn't bind up because everywhere that it would bind up, they put Marrakesh material, 1000 denier Karbonite Micromesh. And as we know from the Marrakesh jacket, because that's also AA rated, this is very abrasion resistant. But you'll notice that they don't put it on the outside of the jacket. That's because that material, even though it's really abrasion resistant, can still pull threads if it catches on a thorn in the woods. I've seen that happen to some Marrakesh jackets. They're just not designed for it. They're designed to hold up to everyday use, but they're really designed, and protection-wise, to just hold up to one slide, and hopefully you never need it for that. But the Baja jacket is probably going to take abuse whether you crash or not, because if you're using it for its intended purpose, it's going to hit a lot of things in the woods and you might endure those slow speed tumbles. So Marrakesh jacket, they took material from that, added in the pockets, get a ton of mobility. They even added it up here, and then on the collar, and then on the hem and the cuffs, you're going to have 750D Cordura. That's going to be incredibly abrasion resistant and durable as well. So basically just all overbuilt. Schoeller Dynatec mesh, SuperFabric on the elbows, 750D Cordura. And then when you get into the features, so what does this actually feel like when you use it, right? You'll notice that all of the chest is open mesh. They maximize the airflow. All the pockets are going to be down low. And the other thing I like about the stretch zones I also forgot to mention is that it makes it more friendly to an airbag. It's not just going to restrict an airbag if it goes off. You have quite a bit of room for that. So a lot more airbag friendly with this newer generation. This is also going to feature YKK zippers, just like on all their jackets, so really reliable. And if you flip the jacket around, there's a huge storage pocket in the back, but you can see, again, they kept the back open, so you get that maximized airflow. Then you have this huge storage pocket in the back. This jacket also features an internal pocket for hydration, so at the top here. So one of the things about a mesh jacket is one of the reasons it keeps you cooler is because it allows that breathability, which means it allows your sweat to evaporate more. But if your sweat's evaporating more, that means you can get dehydrated a little bit faster than if you had something that didn't allow that evaporation to take place. So you're trading off a little bit of faster dehydration and the trade-off to stay cooler. But this does have a hydration pack in it. And what I like about that is if you do get one, you can actually freeze that hydration pack and drink it as it melts, and it's also going to help blow cold air around inside the jacket, which is really cool. This also has a concealed pocket behind the back pad pocket. So you can put documents in there. They say it's for a passport. Use your imagination. You can use it for what you want. I took the back pad out because I wear an airbag, so that's why it's not in there. There's a chest pocket here, but you can see this is full mesh. They line the entire jacket with a polyester mesh. This is to break up some more of the friction if you go down. It's also so they can hold the pockets for the armor, but this is kind of a safety feature. It helps break up some of that friction if you do go up in a slide. That way it just doesn't pull your skin aggressively. And you'll see there's internal pockets with zippers, tons of storage. This jacket does have a little bit of weight to it with all this overbuilt durable materials, but what's nice is they do make it compatible with a kidney belt. So if you find that a jacket's too heavy, you can buy a kidney belt, put it through here. The zipper's a little bit stuck at the moment, but that will basically just take some of the weight off so that the jacket doesn't feel like it's just pulling down just on your shoulders. This also has an adjustable waistband, so you can pull that tight. That way it's not flopping around in the wind or bunching up weird. And then you have the straps on the elbows to help secure the armor a little bit better. And then you also have these clips on the side here. So what this is for is if this still isn't moving enough air for you, you can actually open the collar, clip this open here, and it'll hold it open so you can get just a little bit more air. This mesh I don't feel like breathes quite as well as an induction jacket. It still moves tons of air, but not quite as much as their standard mesh. That's why I think they put these clips here, just in case it's not quite enough. But it still moves a ton of air. If you're coming from a textile or a perforated leather or a Gore-Tex jacket with just vents, this is gonna be a massive upgrade. And I think for somebody who does dual sport riding, that tiny little bit of loss in airflow is gonna be worth the durability trade-off that this jacket's going to offer. So I've talked about everything that's awesome about this jacket. Let's talk about what kind of sucks about it, because there are some downsides to this. The big one being the price and the fact that it comes with only level 1 armor. That's been my biggest complaint. So this jacket, because it licenses all this tech, the Schoeller Dynatec, that's a licensed tech, SuperFabric, that's a licensed tech, YKK zippers, that's licensed. All that's going to jack the price up, but it also ensures that you get a premium product. But the one biggest downside that I really think Klim needs to change about this jacket is their marketing as an off-road jacket, and it comes stock with level 1 armor. If you fall on a rock, sharp rock with level 1 armor only, the soft armor, I don't think that's gonna be enough. I think that for off-road jackets, you really need to be looking at some kind of armor base layer with plastic in it, or at least a level 2 armor. So I did swap out the elbows and shoulders for level 2 Rogue. And with the new Rogue armor too, it is very breathable, so I don't think we're really losing much in terms of breathability. When I talk to Klim about this, they usually say that they want the level 1 armor because it breathes better and it's a little bit lighter, which I understand. But again, for an off-road jacket, I think at this price point, I'd really like to see level 2 armor, and that's my biggest gripe about this. The other thing that I'm kind of iffy about is it doesn't have any pockets for chest armor. So I wear an airbag that has chest armor built into it, not an issue for me. I can understand why they wouldn't want to feature it stock. Maybe, it does interfere with some airflow, but again, I think anything in that kind of off-road category, I would like to see have chest armor as well. The other thing that we might want to take in consideration with a mesh jacket, and this is going to be all mesh jackets, not just this one, is that if you're riding in dusty conditions or less than ideal conditions, like last week we had a bunch of smoke come in here from wildfires, this is going to pass right through the jacket onto your layer underneath. If you're just going out riding for fun, that might not be a big deal. But if you're commuting and you need to keep your clothes nice underneath your jacket, you might not want to go with the mesh if it's like really dusty out or the air quality is not great and it's going to leave you kind of smelling bad. So that's just another thing to consider. Dust will pass through this and it'll get your clothes a little bit dirty. That's just how it goes with mesh. And last but not least, who's the jacket for? Well, it's for the guy who can't stand heat. The summers are getting hotter on average, at least where I live. That's why I bought this. And honestly, this is probably my least used jacket of the 3. So I have a Carlsbad, a Dakar jacket, and this one. And this is probably the one that gets used the least. But I will say when I need it, I'm really glad I have it, because on those days where it's above 90 degrees and it just seems like there's no way to really manage that heat, this is a great solution. If I was going on a longer trip, I probably would be a little more hesitant to take this just because it's a little less versatile. But for those day rides where it's just doing some dual sport riding, some gravel roads, maybe some bashing around the woods, and I'm just coming back home and there's no rain in the forecast or anything like that, this is a great jacket to have. It's also really good for commuting on those hot days. There's no waterproofing in this because it's mesh, so it's not going to be an all-in-one. It's a really good jacket. I think that makes a complement to jackets you already have, but there are going to be some serious trade-offs in order to get that ventilation and that cooling effect. With that being said, if you live somewhere where it's really hot, the vented jacket with a rain shell to put on just in case might be a better solution than those all-in-one jackets. You got to think about the climates that you're consistently riding into. Like if I lived further south, like in Florida or Texas, and it was just always hot, which I'd probably never live there because I can't stand the heat. But if you live down there and you need a jacket that's vented that's going to keep you cool, this is probably going to be a better solution than an all-in-one. And just keep the rain shell on you. Because the bigger risk down there isn't getting rained on. The bigger risk down there is probably getting heat stroke. So that's going to be a trade-off that I think is worth it. The further you live north, the colder it is, the less this jacket I think is going to make sense. That's just the reality of it. And one last thing I forgot to mention about this jacket too is it has the 3M Scotch light. So this does have a really nice reflective material going along the sides here. And this basically directs it right back to the light source. If you point a flashlight at it, it'll shine right back at it. And they strategically place these to seem like it outlines a person so that if a car is looking at it, they can see you better. So that's another thing I really like. Klim does that with all their jackets, and they definitely didn't overlook that on this one either. You can see it going up the sleeve here. So yeah, awesome jacket. Definitely recommended if you're looking for a hot summer jacket. If you're just riding on the street, I don't know if the Baja really makes a lot of sense. I think if you're doing dual sport, adventure, and street, this makes a lot of sense. But yeah, if you're just riding on street, Induction or Induction Pro might be a better option. They come in at a lower price point. The Induction Pro is about $100 less, comes with level 2 armor, a little better venting. The Induction is $100 less than that one, comes with level 1 armor, the same rating as this. So for a street slide, those are going to be fine. But yeah, this jacket, for adventure, dual sport riding, I think it's awesome. Hope you like this. Hope this review helps you in your buying process. Kind of gives you some things to think about, what makes sense for your style of riding. If you like this content, please hit the subscribe and like button. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments below. Always try to get back to people within a reasonable time. That's all I got for today. I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. This jacket is like the Jackie Chan of mesh jackets. It's like the Mike Tyson of fighting heat when you're on a bike. This is like the Chuck Norris of going up against brush in the woods.